day Ghana receives its first vaccine?
On the ground, and once we connect with them and take you there and let you hear what is being said. The feed is misbehaving a bit. You know, when you get towards the airport, you will have a bit of the sound and audio displaced because of the security infrastructure at the airport.
Summarize whatever the minister says.
Finally, the long-awaited vaccine has arrived. We are looking forward to what will happen next.
That's it. The ceremony is happening at the Kotika International Airport. It's our international airport, and we're receiving a first set of the vaccines, the AstraZeneca and the Sputnik V vaccines that are in the country presently, and you will get to know the set of people who will get to take the first part of the vaccines. It will be in 3 phases, and there you see it. It's there. So conversations about whether or not to accept the vaccine, conversations about storage facility, conversations about how easy it will be to get the vaccines to the people, conversations about side effects and possible compensation, conversations about green lights that the Food and Drug Authority has given for the vaccines before the vaccines arrive, conversations about whether or not in the not so distant future we will be able to manufacture our very own vaccines, even given the fact that we had what it takes or what it took to be able to vet these vaccines, to approve them for consumption by the citizens. Well, all those conversations will come up, conversations about the cost of the vaccines, conversations about whether or not people will be willing to come out to take the vaccines, conversations about all of us participating in the conversation to work together as a people, that solidarity and welcome back. So the vaccines have arrived.
So much become used to in the last couple of months. It's almost a year now. We got our first case, I believe, in March. That was on the 12th of March, where 2 cases were reported. Indeed, for a long time, all the recorded cases in Ghana were imported cases until we began to see some form of community spread, and it has gotten worse ever since. Well, as we said at the very beginning, throughout from March until December last year, we had just about 350 or so persons who had passed away. Unfortunately so, but given the figures that we had seen from other countries, where in a day, in countries like the US, about 1,000 people could die. In fact, in one of the days, in the US alone, 1,200 people died. In Brazil, in one day, 900 people died. In Spain, in one day, and I'm talking about not just one day, but subsequently other days, you have 800 people dying, 900, 1,000 in Spain, in Brazil, in Italy. We had 900 people dying for almost 5 consecutive days, Thelma. And so when we had about 300 for the entire 8 months or so, even though it wasn't exciting, we were lucky. We said we were lucky. But in 2 months, we've lost as many people as we lost in the entire 2020. That's unfortunate, Thelma.
That is a cause for worry, but although all is not lost, hopefully, as we learn more about this new disease and as we adapt to ways to cope with this new normal, some sense of normalcy will return, like the statement from the WHO and UNICEF said. Mind you that in America alone, just over the weekend, they marked the 500,000 deaths in America alone, and they held a ceremony, a minute silence to remember those who had fallen. In the whole of Africa, we've lost about 100,000 people, and that is only a fifth of what America has lost. It is in no way meant to take from the grief that people feel. And I've said on some platforms that COVID-19 has ceased to be about figures and numbers, and it's now people I know, people you know, people who are getting infected are people that you know. Now it's in the communities. You're seeing the people. You saw somebody last week. This week the person tested positive. You have instances where prominent personalities have come out to say, look, I have tested positive. Unfortunately, we still have stigmatization of persons at workplaces, within the community, of persons who have recovered from COVID-19 being, discriminated against for whatever reason. And that I find very unfortunate, because at least those people have known their status, at least they've tested, and at least they've gotten help. But what about those who have not tested, and yet they sit in the safety of their ignorance, if I can call it that, to look at those who have bravely gone to test and they have received the treatment and think that they, for some reason, are better.
I find that very contradictory. Yet, you sitting there, you are feeling symptoms. You have some symptoms of illnesses, and yet you haven't tested, yet you are stigmatizing somebody who has tested positive. The person is safer than you who have not tested, and therefore the stigmatization must stop. Indeed, everyone must be encouraged to go out there and test, and if found positive, get some treatment and get everyone else to be safe, rather than staying away from being tested and putting the rest of us at risk. Currently, the cold stores, the mobile cold stores are ready to receive the vaccines. Of course, the Minister Designate for Health and his entourage, as well as the international community here in Ghana, and representatives from UNICEF and the WHO have all witnessed the arrival of the vaccines, have received them formally, and these vaccines will now be transported to other holding facilities in wait for the president to officially receive them and also be the first to be vaccinated in the country before the rollout plan is actually activated. So the vaccines, 600,000 of them, 600,000 have arrived.
And we can see that as the trucks are being loaded, some of the delegation have started. Tells you that we've come to the end of the official welcoming of the vaccine. Had to sacrifice for us to gain knowledge of how to live with this. For Ghana to be the first in Africa to benefit from the facility is really welcome news for its citizens, and we hope that the whole of Africa, indeed everyone everywhere in the world who desperately needs a vaccine in order to be safe and to survive, will get one sooner rather than later.
And again, Thelma, just to cut in there, as you talk about Ghana being the first in Africa, we always need to emphasize the fact that we are referring to the COVAX, the COVAX, and not because other countries have received some other forms of vaccinations, but Ghana is the first to receive the COVAX vaccination facilities. That clarification, we need to keep making it before somebody misquotes.
Started in other African
Zimbabwe, Equatorial Guinea,
even in South Africa.
Yes.
On the 17th of February, they started some vaccinations. So mind you, South Africa had to get new vaccines so that they can deal with their new strain.
The
vaccines are being loaded,
yes,
and we can see that on our screen. Very historic things we're seeing here at the end in sight in our COVID fight.
Of course, but again, we keep cautioning Ghanaians that this does not mean that we lower our guards. We are well out of the woods, not yet, and even for those who will be privileged to be among the first to receive the vaccines, it does not guarantee you against contracting the virus 100%. You still need to stay away from all the issues that can lead to a contraction of the virus, and that's what is important. That as much as possible, let's stick to all the COVID-19 protection protocols, even as the vaccines have arrived, and even as the rollout will start after the 2nd of March, when the president initially officially receives them and proceeds to give us the rollout plan.
Yes, I'm excited for, particularly, obviously I'm excited for the whole country, but the people who are top of my list is for the frontline workers and all the people in the health sector generally who have been at the forefront of this fight, bravely fighting to protect the rest of us who are now referred to as mere mortals, because those people are heroes. They have saved the country a great deal of human resource, and they deserve every commendation that comes their way. I'm happy that with this vaccination, once they get it, they will have an extra layer of protection, because we know that the distribution of PPEs, from what we've been told, have not been at 100%, and we look forward to seeing the numbers become better, so that as we move on to other things to do in the country later on in the year, we'll be more confident.
That's right,
safety.
That's right, and you will talk about, you have spoken about frontline workers. You recall that when the president initially gave us some incentives to frontline workers, all manner of people came out to define themselves as frontline workers. I just hope that that controversy we experience will not happen this time around, and that the proper definition for frontline workers would have already been put out there for people who know that they belong to that circle or not to come out to create any unnecessary controversies, even as we receive this very exciting news.
The COVID-19 vaccination will be conducted in phases among segmented population, with priority placed on frontline workers. He urged the populace to do their part by ensuring that they get vaccinated when the vaccine gets to them. The Ministry of Health and the Ghana Health Service last week revealed it has trained enough personnel to undertake the vaccination exercise.